Hey there, welcome to my channel. My name is Linda. I'm so glad you could join me today. I hope I've come up with some good, great crafting inspiration for you. Good and great in the same sentence. We'll take it. What are we waiting for? Let's get started. Today we'll be working on DIY Rustic Farmhouse Spring and Easter DIYs using mostly Dollar Tree supplies. Now what you see here is Wendy and I decided to do kind of a mystery DIY using Dollar Tree supplies. The two on the left are the ones I emailed her to use, and the two on the right are the two she emailed me to use. So let's get started. This is project number 1. I'm going to be using these ceramic bunnies and little chicks from Dollar Tree, and I took the little tops out of it, filled the little holes with wood filler, sanded them down, and we're going to need 4 of each one. I'll be using Dixie Belle chalk paint and the color drop cloth. We're going to start with the bunny first. Now, normally I cut out a lot of the painting, but this time I'm not going to on these two because I do want you to see these start to finish. So settle in, grab a snack. I know this video is long. So starting on this bunny first, I'm going to paint it 2 coats just with a regular paintbrush, just to kind of get that base coat on. And I know this drop cloth is kind of about the same color. And then on the little chickie, I'm going to paint the egg, you know, the hat of the egg in the little body part of the egg on the bottom of the little chickie in the same color, of course. Again, just with the paintbrush on these ones. Just kind of get in there as best possible. You don't have to be perfect, but be as perfect as you want to be. Here's what it looks like when we're done. Going back to the bunny, I like to use a pouncy brush, dipping it back into that drop cloth paint, and I pounce it on and off the bunny. And I'll do the same thing on the chickie with all the colors as well, but on and off. And then I take it with the heat tool and set it. But this is what it looks like pouncing it. Look at the texture on the bunny. So it's really nice to pounce it on and get that texture. So again, same thing on the egg on the little chickie. Then when I heat set it, if I let the heat go on it just a little too long, it bubbles up and creates even more texture, and I love doing that. Here's what that looks like. So instead of just kind of flat ceramic piece, now we've got some texture to work with. Now here's Arteza craft paints, pink, black, a little yellow and orange as well that I added some white to just to kind of lighten those up. Gonna go start with the bunny. I'm using a little brush from Dollar Tree, and you can see I cut the tip off the foam brush just to kind of give me a little bit of a sponge here, dipping it in that pink paint and just going right in the ears. Now I don't do a whole lot on this bunny. I just kind of keep it simple, doing a little bit on the nose, and then I'll heat set it. I opt not to paint any whiskers or anything. I keep going back and forth, but I don't paint any whiskers. Now I'm going to go back onto the chickie, and I'm going to use this yellow paint. Again, it's Arteza paint. I just watered or lightened it down, let me find my words, with some white paint to make it really light. Going in first with the paintbrush, and then this little makeup sponge came in my little kit of foam brushes, so it's perfect to get in around the, areas of the, cracked part of the egg, so I can pounce it in there to get around those little sharp areas, and then I'll come back in with that smaller pouncy brush and kind of pounce through the center. And I don't care that I'm pouncing over the little beak and the cheeks and the eyes and all that, because we'll go cover that up. And again, I'll take my heat tool and hit it, drying it, and now here I come in with the orange paint lightened up with some white, kind of pouncing it on the beak there. Then I'll come back in with that little makeup sponge, and I'll just add some cute little pink cheeks here. Heat setting everything in between because I want that texture, letting it set a little long so it gives me that texture. Just about done with these little creatures. They're so cute. And then the last thing I'm going to do is come in with that black Arteza paint and a fine tip brush, and I'm just going to color the eyes in on all my creatures. My cute little bunnies and chickies. I'll just show one eye here, but trust me, I did them all. Oh, and And I forgot, we're going to come back into the chickie. I don't want to do the egg like Easter because I want this to set out for spring, but I do want to add a little bit of personality to the egg on all the little chicks. So black paint, watering it down. I like to take a fan brush. First I'm going to go back and on my thought, tape off the center portion, and then the little, you know, feathers and wings here. Fan brush. And then it gives me more control this way, and then I just tap it with my finger to speckle the egg. Just like that, nice and easy. That way I get little spots and not those long splatter type things. I speckle all that, heat tool, now my chickie will be done. Once I take the tape off, of course. All right, taking it off. But that way I thought this could go through Easter or spring and not just Easter with Easter decor egg. So by the time I'm done, I end up with 4 cute little chickies and 4 cute little bunnies. Here we are. So let's move on to the next step. This is the mystery piece that Wendy sent me. This is bamboo cutting board. And I'll talk about Wendy in just a minute because this is a collaboration video. So I'm taking this bamboo cutting board and I'm going to trace it. I'm going to use some pink paper. It's kind of double-sided. One side's pink, one side yellow. And I'm going to cut this down. Actually, I don't trace it. I'm just going to cut it down about 1/4 inch shy all the way around this cutting board, both sides. I like a little bit of my wood to be exposed here. In case I have any new subscribers, I often cut my paper this way. You can see how it's a little bit short around the edges. I do this, 99% of the time. This is a cool We Are Memories tool. It is a corner rounder. One side is 1/4 inch and the other side is 1/2 inch. Just pop it right in the triangle there and it'll make the corners nice and round. I'll have a link hopefully in the description box for you, but you can see how that looks. Do that to both pieces of paper. Now, if any of you are new to my channel, I love to add sewing to all my papers. I do it on every project. I just think it adds great subtle texture. As you can see here, I just sew right directly onto the paper. I use a size 10 or 11 needle depending on the manufacturer that I buy at Walmart. This is just a plain old Brother sewing machine. My tension is set on 4 and I'm on the longest stitch length on my machine is a 4. I use all polyester thread because my machine does not like the cotton, makes the stitches all loose and wonky. But I do that on all my papers through all the projects today. I'm just showing this one piece. The rest will be off camera. You don't need to see it all. Everything's all sewn. I also cut 2 pieces here. Forgot to show you wood dominoes. I'm going to use it like a little sign. So one side I cut it a little short and the other side I cut it to fit the whole thing. I'm going to use these blocks off this brain teaser. It's got elastic in the middle. Right here they have nice holes in them. They're great for beads or little feet as we're going to use. And I covered the holes, took 4 of them with wood filler. So here they are. I'll sand them all off camera. I can't put that brain teaser back together. Also on all my papers, I love to add texture by taking the open end of my scissor blades and I scrape it around the edges. And here you can see with and without that texture. So it's your choice if you like to do that. I think it adds great rustic character to all my papers. So again, I will do that all my papers on all the projects today, but all off camera. You're seeing it here. So now we know what's going to be happening. Going to use some rope here I have in my supply. You could use Dollar Tree rope, of course. I've also got some skewers, a package of skewer sticks you could buy at Dollar Tree. And I'm going to paint everything in the Dixie Belle drop cloth chalk paint all around the edges, just like you see here on my 2 main pieces, and then my sticks and my little square beads down there, my feet, I will paint the entire thing. But the 2 rectangle pieces we're covering the centers of those, so it doesn't matter to go all the way around. Be using Beacon Fabri-Tac glue today. It's my glue of choice. I use it, works wonderful. I cut my rope into about 7-inch length and kind of frayed the edges, and now I'm going to go ahead and glue those on there. I thought if I fray the edges and then I can press them down into that glue, it will make them as flat as possible. I'm just kind of making sure I have my length where I frayed them the same length for both pieces of rope. Go ahead and add my glue, and as the glue's drying, I just kind of off camera press that rope down in so it's nice and flat. And yes, I can pick this up, this tray up with these ropes using this Beacon Fabri-Tac glue now that it's all set up. So that rope is still a little tall, so I'm cutting some cardboard here, and I'm gluing it on the bottom side, obviously, to help kind of take up the space of that rope so that when I glue my paper on the bottom, it will be all nice and level. As you can see to the left side, I already had glue on that paper. I started to glue it down. I'm like, nope, that's not going to work. I need to fill some space here. And I do this a lot when I'm doing projects. Fill space, make things level, pull out some cardboard, cut it up. It's great, works perfectly. Just get everything glued down here in pieces. Doesn't matter because you're not going to see all this. We're going to cover it up with the paper. Couple more tiny little pieces to go here. You gotta love how painted my fingers are there. All right, now we'll get our paper glued down and cover that all up and make it all nice and pretty for the underside. All right, we're gonna work on the top. Just real quick, add that top piece of paper. A lot of gluing and stuff today in these projects. A lot of gluing. I try to cut a lot out for you. Just trust me, I glue everything down. We're going to add glue to our little domino block. I buy 2 or 3 packages of these because I love to use them for little signs like we're doing here. Usually the part with the paper on the back, I'll cover that completely because it's hard to paint over. And then the front is where I'll let a little area show. Got all my feet sanded and painted here from those blocks, and we're just going to go ahead and glue those down. That way our little tray sets up a little bit. Once this is done, we'll work on the top side. So 2 of my skewers I have cut down to 8 1/4 inches long, and then I have 6 smaller skewers total. 2 of them, and this is approximate measurements, are about 1 7/8 inches long, and 4 of them are about 1 5/8 inches long. And I am cutting them with some dog clippers from Dollar Tree. I love using those to cut. Now what I'm doing, I'm just laying this down on my workspace, and I'm just adding some glue, dots of glue at the junctions of these sticks. I want the glue to hold just enough so that I can very tenderly pick it up and add it to my tray. Just need enough to hold it in place. So once I glue it, let it, set for 4 or 5 minutes. It's really set up in about a minute, but I want it to be really good and set up. And then we'll, like I said, gingerly pick it up very carefully, whatever descriptive words we want to use for that, to get it to our tray. You can see they're just a tiny bit, putting it together. And then once it's dry, before we pick it up, I'm going to go ahead and add glue to all the sticks, just like this on the one side, just nice thin lines of glue. And then we'll pick it up. It's a little wobbly, but it works. Picking it up nice and gently and onto our tray. Perfect. That's looking good. Our project is almost done. We're going to take our little domino sign here. I made this out of electronic cutting machine. I wanted to show you this transfer tape I love to use from Arteza. Comes with a little tool. I'll have a link in the description box for you. This is kind of like vinyl-like quality material, and it works great for transfer and stencils. So much better than that blue thin stuff for stencils. I love this stuff. So I've made my little sign here. As you can see, it says tic-tac-toe, and I used aliens and cows and board contest for the font. Once we get this on, this project is complete. want to take a moment and introduce myself. My name is Linda, and I've been a crafter for years and love to do all sorts of DIY home decor crafts, from Dollar Tree crafts to Farmhouse to Rustic to primitive to paper crafting. I post videos once a week, so go ahead and hit that red subscribe button and notification bell so you don't miss out on a single video from me. I'm also on Instagram. Pop on over and say hi. I'll have that link in the description box. And if you're looking for a little bit more inspiration from myself and other crafters, I do have a Facebook group. Also, that link will be in the description box as well. So now I'm super excited to announce my collaboration partner for this video, Wendy, who is White Sparrow Living Luke 12:6 here on YouTube. I'm sure you need no introduction. She does all sorts of Dollar Tree DIYs. Her imagination is abundantly amazing. Her crafts are so easy to follow and definitely inspirational. She is a sweet sister in Jesus Christ. I will have a link in the description box down below, so make sure you go check it out after watching my video. But for now, let's move on to project number 2. So for this project, this is one of my items that I sent for Wendy to use, which are these cute little cubed drawers. I'll be using 3 of those, plus this unfinished wood cube from Dollar Tree and this wood cross. Now you could take these little drawers apart so that you can use them for 2 separate projects, but I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to keep them all together, but I am going to glue the little drawers closed so these don't pop out. And this project is just going to be really super easy, not a lot of decor to it, because I really wanted the message to speak for itself today. I'll be showing you just a couple of the things we'll be doing, and then I'm going to do a lot of the rest off camera because it does take a little bit of time the way I did it. But again, using my Beacon Fabric Tack glue, getting my drawers all closed. Again, using drop cloth paint by Dixie Belle, and I'll just paint around all the edges of everything. Don't have to paint the centers or anything like that, just going around this cube and the other little drawer cubes just like this, and the same around the wooden cross, just so that the edges are covered, because again, all my papers I will cut them a little bit short so that the edges of the wood pieces are exposed. I just like to do that. I don't know, it just gives me kind of that farmhouse rustic feel versus just kind of covering everything up. So once everything's painted here, I do go in and sand it a little bit, although you don't really see it. It's really subtle because the wood is so light underneath the light color paint, but I still do it. In my mind, I know I did it. I know I did the process as I usually do, so it is complete. So now what I did is I cut 2 pieces of paper for each cube. The first paper is cut a little bit short, and then the second paper is cut even shorter still. I've sewn around the edges off camera. I did enough pieces of paper for all the cubes, of course, the different designs, but same color schemes. And for the cross, I have again 2 pieces here, and I want to show you how I did that. What I did is I traced the first cross, and then I, of course, went in about 1/8 of an inch and I redrew the perimeter and cut that out. So this will be the darker kind of cardstock color. And then using that pattern, I went in and redrew about 1/8 of an inch in to get my second pattern. And so that's how I did the cross. And then, of course, I did kind of on the little cubes and stuff, I just measured how big they were, kind of measured the paper on them, cut them out, cut them 1/8 inch shorter, and then the second piece of paper, cut that 1/8 inch shorter still. But again, that way it's layered and nice. Now you don't have to do this. You can just do 1 sheet of paper. You don't have to use paper at all. You can paint all your items easy. I just chose to do it like this since there isn't a lot of design element on this. The paper is kind of the design. So I chose to kind of double up like this to give it that little bit more of a decorative appeal. But you can see that cardstock underneath, how the wood shows around it, and then gluing the striped paper on top. Looks really nice. And then by sewing around everything, and yes, I even took the open end of my scissor blades, scraped around it just like I did in the first project, scraped around all the edges to give it that texture. But once I do this cube here on camera, all the rest I will do off camera, because it's the same process, and well, I don't want to bore you that long. So here's what it looks like finished, just like that. here is everything done, and I chose these colors because I found these one flowers, these lilies at Dollar Tree, so beautiful. I love those colors, so I chose to kind of go in with creams, a little bit darker creams, and a little bit of brown tone, and that beautiful, beautiful kind of teal color. So I have made a quote using my Cricut Design Space, and I use the font Corona. All my fonts on my projects today all come from defont.com except this Corona, and I'll have the link to that in the description box. I know, what a name, right? But this is my kind of quote on this project today. I think it's just beautiful. Now you can see all my blocks here, changing the subject really quick. They're all separate so that you could kind of design them any way you want. You could stack them up or lay them all out side by side, however you choose. So of course my quote here says, "Love you more." And now I'm going to do the cross. I have this little wood tag I want to kind of attach to the cross with this tiny little nail. And let me tell you, when I went to go nail this little sign to the cross, talking a little personal here, I had to kind of sit back and take a breath. It was just so like, wow, I was nailing a sign to the cross. Yeah, I just had to take a breath. It just meant a lot. Anyway, so it says always, and when you stack everything up, this project is complete. So let's move on to project number 3. So for this project, this is again a couple of more pieces I sent to Wendy. This is my mystery item. I told her either one of these cute little wood houses. You can use as many as you want. I'm going to use 2 here. I was able to get those little foam flowers off just by using my heat tool, as well as this sign. I know a lot of people have had issues trying to get this little wood piece off, but I kind of have an industrial heat tool, so it gets really hot, and just holding it on there, you can see how my spatula just slides right underneath, slides right off without damaging the wood or anything. So I just kind of wanted to show this process. You could totally try it with a hair dryer, just hold it on there nice and long. And once I do that, I take both these houses and I trace them onto my paper, and then I take those papers and I cut them all down a little bit shorter. I cut the original pattern out, and then I go back in and recut it about 1/8 inch shorter, just like I've been doing on all my wood pieces. And of course, you know, I sewed around the edges and I distressed around the edges with my scissor blades. Just showing you this one part here. Perfect. And it'll look just like this. See, shorter all the way around. Now for this next part, I do this off camera, but basically I'm just kind of marking at the top because I want to take my miter box and saw and kind of cut off those tips. And then I mark a spot where I'm going to use my drill to drill a hole. Nice and easy. But just kind of wanted to show you this is what I'll end up doing. And now here's my papers all cut. I've got these 2 papers for one. These are going to be wood tags. And then I've got these papers for the other. I'm kind of going for more of like a kind of a vintage spring look here. Got a couple of wood tags here from my supply, a circle and a square that I also trace around. And then cut those out, again, a little bit shorter all the way around. And I've got this cute little bunny and carrot. I will have a link down below where I got these. My friend makes these and sells them in little like kits. It's so cute. So I'm tracing around these on my papers, so that I can cover these little wood pieces up. You, of course, could just paint these if you didn't want to trace around them or anything like that. So here, everything's all set. Oh, here's where I drill. I thought I did that off camera. Nope. Showed you this part. Got everything all drilled, ready to go. Dixie Belle chalk paint any color drop cloth. Did you think I'd use anything else? I think this is a running paint theme for today. Just painting around the edges again, just like I did on everything else. I'll do it on all my wood pieces. Just kind of skipping ahead a little bit for you. We know what to do. We've been doing this for a little bit now. And then I sand around the edges of everything so it gets all nice and distressed. Gives it that rustic farmhouse look, of course. Since the wood's darker underneath these, you can really see them. And so now what I'm doing is I'm laying down one piece of paper and taking a long doll needle. You can get these at Walmart. to mark through that hole. Then I'll glue the top decorative paper onto that cardstock, and then I'll punch the hole with my crocodile, and I'll repeat that for both sides of both of my tags. Again, going to do the other side, because there's no way to punch through that big thick wood tag, right? So we kind of got to mark the spot. A pencil's too short, so those long needles are perfect. Punch our hole and get those on there. And we're going to go ahead and cover our wood. We'll work on this one tag here. I'm going to use the square tag on this one. Able to just kind of punch right through once I glue the paper on one side, punch the hole, glue the other paper, punch the hole again. That crocodile's great. I'll have a link in the description box. Going to glue my little bunny on. And it kind of matches, of course, does match the top paper on the tag itself. I wanted it to all look cohesive and glue it onto that wood tag. Now we'll go on to the other one. Just kind of doing one side here for you, skipping ahead and getting our little other kind of vintage polka dot paper on. Our little circle tag on this one, covering both sides and making sure we punch our holes. And then we're going to add the carrot on this side. So yes, I even sewed on that little carrot. You'll see it at the end when I've got the staging all set up for you. Going to add our little pieces here, super cute, and glue that onto the tag. And now I did some, again, Spring Kisses, Bunny Wishes, some vinyl quotes here off my Cricut Design Space. On this one I use Smackover for the cursive part, and then a combination of aliens and cows and board contest for the capital letters on the top part. Got those on there. I'm going to get some twine through both of my tags here, and then I'll thread on a tag. I do them both the same way. And then I'll add 2 wood beads on both ends of the twine. I get these at Walmart. It's like $6 for that whole bag. $6. That's a lot of beads. Thread 2 beads on each end. I don't know why, but I always thread my beads on first. And then I'll grab both of those twine pieces together and tie them in a knot underneath the tag, so it'll kind of hold the tag and keep it from sliding down. And then I will tie a knot at the end of each of the beads and cut off the excess. And then I'll do the same thing on the other tag. Same process. I love to do this and kind of let those larger tags kind of hang off the side a little bit. It's just kind of fun. And then it allows you to see the quote as well. Adding my beads, and yes, I tape the end of my twine to kind of be able to run it through the beads, the holes of the beads. Again, both twines together, tie a knot. Tie a knot at the end of the beads, cut off the excess, and then once that's done, this project is complete. So let's move on to our last project, number 4. So for this project, I'm going to make a little sign. I'm going to use this home decor sign I got on clearance at a store, painting it in Dixie Belle chalk paint in the color Caviar, which is just fancy for black, and my mystery wood cross item from Wendy. I'll be painting that in the color Drop Cloth. Who'd have thunk it? Drop Cloth paint again. That's nothing new here, right? And once everything's painted, I sand it all up, including the cross, and then I'm just going to remove my tape here. I taped it off because I really didn't want to paint the center. And I've got some paper here. I took some cardboard again, and I added it 2 layers to the back of my paper and gluing it into the center, so that way the paper's kind of lifted up a little bit because the sign has a really deep recess. I'm going to be using some flowers here. These flowers are from Reneabouqets.com, and so I'll have the link down below for you. Flowers like this you can get at Hobby Lobby. They are Prima Marketing flowers, which is my favorite brand. Little resin pieces and metal pieces and stuff like this. Paper Studio spare parts. Again, Hobby Lobby. Just kind of wanted to show you these. Stickers I'll be using, Tim Holtz. You can get this in the scrapbook section. All these are like from the scrapbook section, Hobby Lobby. So I'm going to go ahead and glue my flowers in. We're going to be doing a little bit of paper crafting here. It's kind of my paper crafting project, a little bit shabby chic. Clock faces and clock hands here. You can get these usually at like Hobby Lobby or Michael's or Joann's in the jewelry making section. You can get little bags of clock pieces and clock hands and stuff like that. So what I'm doing here, again, going with kind of teals and purples and things like that. I thought it would be beautiful to bring these colors back in. Just kind of layering in little paper pieces and flowers. Add a little bit of cardboard to this. This little paper says blessed, so it kind of lifts up a little bit. Just kind of layering everything in. I chose clock pieces and like this cute little timepiece, clock hands, everything because it kind of represents time. And to me, it's just kind of, you know, time with Jesus. You know, he chose you, he loves you, he gives you his undivided time and attention, and, you know, we spend our time and love with him. So that's kind of what this project represents to me. So again, just layering a bunch of flowers, just kind of using the space in this little sign area to add all these elements, just to make it kind of shabby and rustic and beautiful. Sits beautifully in your home decor. Here comes some clock hands in. Adding a little resin lamppost because Jesus is our light. So this is kind of my thought process when I add all these elements in. Just a cute little resin frame here. And here comes some stickers, those Tim Holtz stickers. I like to glue them onto really thin cereal cardboard, and then I actually sew on that cardboard. And I'll slow this down here a minute. It just kind of adds a little journaling here. It says, "In my heart, I know that I am home." I'm going to add a little wood heart here that I painted in the drop cloth. Going to add a third clock here. That way, if you look at it, I've got kind of got a little triangle of clocks there, right? So it's a nice, a pleasing effect to the eye when you look at the project. Add another clock hand in. Add my little bit of journaling right here. And it makes this just kind of a personalized project. Adding in a key because, you know, the key, Jesus is our key to life. Here comes "You Are Chosen." I'm adding that onto the clock. I'm using Corona and Baskerville fonts here. "You are chosen." And then in the sign we'll say "He is risen." I just thought that was so pretty. You are chosen. He died on the cross for you. You are chosen, but now he is risen. He is alive. So that was kind of my thought process here, of course, on our little paper crafting home decor project. But still that little bit of farmhouse rustic. Adding the sign, you can see the sign's not all the way up because I want to be able to set this on a Dollar Tree candle stand. So these are some flowers. You can get them. I'll have a link down below. You can get them scrapbook.com. I cut the flowers off because I didn't like those flowers, and I'm adding flowers in that match the ones I am using. That'll be pretty, like vines growing up the cross. It's kind of my thought process here. And I'll add some cute little butterflies, tiny, tiny butterflies. Again, these are from Reneabouqets.com. All these links, any links that I have, I'll have in the description box for you. Just finishing up the project here. Adding the cute little butterflies. Tiny, look how tiny these are. Love them. So, so cute. And then I'll add in this cute little chipboard. It's like a set of pencils, like I wrote the note down to myself. And once that's glued on, this project is complete. I really hope you enjoyed the projects I came up with today. A couple of spring projects and a couple of Easter projects using Dollar Tree supplies and those mystery items that Wendy and I both came up with. I had a lot of fun doing this collaboration video today. Remember, I will have the link down in the description box to Wendy's video. You need to go check it out. I'm sure she came up with something so totally fabulous. I cannot wait to check it out myself. Wendy, thank you for doing this collaboration with me. It was so much fun, you know, just hammering out those details, figuring out what we were going to do. I just had a blast. It was a true blessing to me. Thank you again so much. Remember, if you're not a subscriber, to go ahead and hit that red subscribe button and notification bell so you don't miss out on a single video from me. Please give this video a thumbs up. It really helps my channel out a lot. I thank you for sharing your time with me, and I'll talk with you again soon. Bye.